Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget, before we get started, subscribing to the channel or liking the video. Both of those things really help us out a ton. So if you've been following my content for any length of time, then you already know the short put strategy is my #1 strategy. This is my go-to strategy. This is by far and away my favorite option strategy. I mean, there are just so many powerful aspects to the short put that it's really hard not to love. I mean, you've got the positive delta, right? So you're kind of playing the positive drift of the market moving higher. You've got positive theta, so you're allowing time passing to work for you. You've got that decay that's going to help you on that position. And then lastly, you have negative vega. Right? And volatility likes to contract. Volatility likes to move lower. Sure, it can spike and it can expand and all those kinds of things, but generally speaking, it likes to move down to the lower end of the range. So you have all three of those things working for you. Well, here is something that's pretty wild. When you do a short put, how do you normally set it up? You're going to go out of the money, right? I'm going to choose some strike below where the stock price is because I want to have a probability of profit that's greater than 50%. That makes sense. That's how I set up 98% of my own short puts. But here's what's crazy. Even if you went in the money with your strike selection, you're still going to have a probability of profit that's greater than 50%. That's pretty wild. That's pretty crazy. Man, let's break it down and understand how that can even be possible. Okay, so if I buy stock, right, like let's say I want to play the market to the upside, I'm considering, long stock versus a short put. If I buy stock, then in the short term, that's a 50-50 proposition. The market might go up, the market might go down, the market might go sideways. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. Now, in the long term, it's definitely tilted to the upside. You've got the positive drift, you've got the positive risk premium, all those kinds of things. But day to day, like what's going to happen today or tomorrow, it is very much 50-50. Okay, fair enough. But with something like a short put, I go out of the money with my strike selection. That's automatically going to tilt the odds in my favor. All of a sudden, my probability of profit is greater than 50%. Now, of course, that's a really nice gimme. There must be a pretty solid gotcha somewhere around the corner. Well, yeah, my upside is capped. I'm not necessarily going to be able to make as much money like I could with long stock if the market does rip. But again, that's the trade that we like to make as premium sellers. We want the higher probability trades in exchange for capped upside. And the higher probabilities on an out of the money short put are largely derived from what? They're largely derived from the distance between the stock price and the strike price. Right, like I've got this buffer, I have this margin for error that even if the stock goes down a little bit, but it stays above my strike price, I'm going to be in a pretty good spot. So that naturally is going to produce probabilities in excess of 50-50. But here's what's crazy. Even if you go in the money, with your strike selection, you have no distance now. There's no buffer. There is no margin for error. You're still going to see a probability of profit that's greater than 50%. How is that even possible? Well, let's dive into Tasty Trade and let's take a look. Okay, so here I am inside of my Tasty Trade platform, and I'm just looking at SPY. Like, let's just look at the S&P 500, and let's start with, if I wanted to buy stock in SPY, what would that look like? Well, I would go here, I would click the ask, and then what happens? I see my trade bar, which we just talked about on a recent calculated risk, and I'm looking at the breakdown, and what I see is the probability of profit, as you can hopefully clearly see right over here, is 50%. Right? Again, in the short term, it's 50-50. In the short term, it's a coin flip. In the short term, it's essentially, half to the upside and half to the downside. This is what stock is always going to be. And it doesn't matter what stock you might look at when you're trying to figure out what the probabilities are for a given stock position. Like if I close out of SPY and I bring up QQQ, the NASDAQ index, similar thing. I go to QQQ, I click the ask, I want to buy my 100 shares, and hopefully you can clearly see my probability of profit there is also going to be 50%. So again, stock ownership in the short term, 50-50. Okay, so let's go back to SPY, and everything we're going to talk about here for the next couple of minutes, this would apply to any stock or any index. You're going to see the same phenomenon, so you can kind of play around with this on your own. So I'll go into the June cycle with 56 days to go. So obviously you've got the stock at 711. All of my strikes that are over here on the Tasty Trade platform, these are going to be your out of the money strikes. These are going to be your out of the money put strikes, to be even more specific. And again, when we're setting up short puts, typically we start with an out of the money strike. So for example, I may want to sell this 35 delta short put at the 695 strike. I sell that guy and I see my probability of profit is 70%. And of course, if I go further out of the money, I'm going to have an even higher probability of profit, but I'm collecting less. If I go not as far out of the money, I'm going to get a lower probability of profit, but now I'm collecting more. So again, it's the classic gimme-gotcha exchange between probabilities and premium collected. But the point here is I'm out of the money, and you can see my probability of profit is greater than 50%. That's exactly what we would expect. Okay, but now let's start moving our strike such that we are no longer out of the money, but we're at the money, and then we're actually in the money. So if you look at what happens, you've got SPY at 711. Let me move all the way up to the 710 strike, which would essentially be the at the money strike. It's still slightly out of the money, and so you could certainly make the case that, all right, Jim, we're not quite there yet. Oh, don't worry, we're going to get there in just a couple of seconds. My probability of profit here is 63%. So I'm still way better than a coin flip for essentially selling an at the money put in SPY. But look what happens, and focus on this probability box, if I go deeper and deeper in the money. So I go to 715, which this is now clearly in the money. This is in the money by a few dollars, by a few points. Probability of profit, still 61%. I go to the 720, probability of profit, still 59%. I go to the 725, probability of profit, still 57%. I go to the 735, probability of profit, 54%. So let me stop right there, because you might be wondering, Jim, what is going on? Like, how is this even possible? I'm selling an option that's super deep in the money, and yet I still have a better than 50-50 proposition. What is driving this result? I don't have any buffer. I don't have any distance between the stock price and the strike price. So what is possibly driving my better than 50-50 proposition? Well, it's going to be this little ditty over here on the side. Extrinsic value. When you sell an option, whether it's out of the money or in the money, it really doesn't matter. You're going to be collecting extrinsic value. You're going to be getting paid for the additional risk that you are taking from the unlimited risk in that trade. And that is represented by the extrinsic value in the option. And so because an in-the-money option still has extrinsic value, that is what is driving a probability that is greater than 50%, even though you are in the money. Because if you sell this 735 put and SPY just stays right here, it doesn't move at all, are you going to make money on the trade? The answer is yes. How can that be? It's because of the extrinsic value. Because at expiration, 56 days from now, we know that the option price is going to collapse down to its intrinsic value only. So I'm going to keep any extrinsic value that I sold. I mean, this is the game that we typically play and we're very familiar with the out of the money options. So all these guys up here, I'm used to selling premium. I'm used to collecting the extrinsic value out of the money for the 670 strike, the 680 strike, the 690 strike, and what have you. But when you go in the money, the same principle applies here as well. You're still collecting extrinsic value, and you're going to get to keep that extrinsic value if you were to hold the trade all the way to expiration. And also, another very important thing to recognize here is if you sell an in-the-money option, like for instance, if I sell this 735 strike, not only am I collecting the extrinsic value, but the option price that you see right here, this is built from not only extrinsic value, but also intrinsic value, of course. And option prices must sell for at least their intrinsic value at minimum. And so whatever in the moneyness, whatever intrinsic value the option currently has, I'm going to collect that on order entry. And so if SPY were to rally from 711 all the way to 735, let's say, then that's going to be the best case scenario for me because I'm going to be able to keep my extrinsic value and I'm getting paid for all the intrinsic value that I sold all the way down from 711 up to 735 because this difference in price, 711 to 735, is about $24. Let's just call it $24 to make it a little simpler. I'm being compensated by those $24 here. Well, what happens if SPY rallies from 711 to 735? Those $24 go away. Those $24 disappear. So those are no longer there. And remember, when I sell an option, I want the price to go lower. I want the price to go down. So even though the stock is going higher, that's what I want, of course, with a bullish trade like a short put, the option price itself is going lower. And so the $24 that I sell right now, because that's what the intrinsic value is in the option today, if SPY does rally and the $24 goes away, I get paid those $24 by way of the option price going down by that intrinsic value. So I'm not losing out on the stock price appreciation. I want to make sure that that's really clear, that everybody understands. It's no different from buying stock in that way, but it's a better than 50-50 shot because the extrinsic value in the option, which is always in options, which is why we like to sell premium as option sellers. So let's bring this whole thing home. Stocks in the short term, 50-50. Short puts, when you go out of the money, obviously greater than 50-50 because you have that buffer, you have that margin for error. But even with an in the money short put, you still get greater than 50-50 because it's not only the distance, it's not only the buffer and the margin that's driving those probabilistic outcomes, it's also the extrinsic value in the option, which you still get even with an in the money strike. And that's one of the key differentiators between stock and options. Right, short-term, day-to-day stocks are always a coin flip, but options can always be better than a coin flip for you, the premium seller, and we'll see you guys next time.